Guys, let's be absolutely clear about something here. Light is absolutely everything, and I mean everything in photography. Literally, it's exactly what you're capturing. It shapes your subject. It sets the mood and the atmosphere of the image, and ultimately it defines the quality of your work and even the direction that your photography is going to go in. Let's not beat around the bush here. It separates the professionals from the point-and shooters for those who illuminate the scene as opposed to lighting their actual subjects. My name's Kenny Martin. I've been helping photographers improve their skills in both photography and in the business of photography for over 35 years now. Now, in the next part of my family portrait series on YouTube, I want to delve deep into the subject of lighting for portraiture. And if you're new to the channel, please click subscribe. And if you're interested in the business of photography, please pop over to the Portrait Studio Doctor. The link's in the description. Now, you could have the best camera in the world. You could have the most expensive lenses. You can have the perfect model. You can have a location to absolutely die for. And you can have styling and clothing which are incredible. And still, you can end up with a mediocre image. Because if your lighting's off, nothing's going to save it. The good news is this. You don't need a ton of gear to light portraits beautifully. But what you do need to understand is the tools that are available to you. And most importantly, how and when to use them. Now, in my opinion, simplicity almost always wins over complexity. One light or natural light are definitely my preference. In this section, we're going to look at the main types of lighting used in portraiture. And each type of light has its place. Some are beautiful, some are practical, and some will drive you up the wall if you don't know how to control them. So let's walk through them one by one, what they are, when you'd use them, and the pros and cons of each light. Let's start off with my all-time favourite, natural light. Now, what do I mean by natural light? Well, that's simple. That's the light that's freely available to anyone. It could be bright sunlight, giving that look of a small dish reflector in the studio. Or perhaps it could be a grey, overcast day, which is acting as your large, diffused studio softbox. When would we be using outdoor light? Well, of course, it's perfect for outdoor location shoots. There is usually no reason to bring supplementary lighting outdoors. You just need to learn how to control it and where to place your subjects. So what do you think the pros are of using natural light? Well, number one, I'm a Scotsman. It's free. And it's also absolutely beautiful and flattering when the light is soft. And that's normally early morning or late afternoon. It's easy to work with if you know how to find it. So learn how to find the light. And clients love natural light because it looks authentic and real. What about the cons? Well, it's totally unpredictable. Clouds, weather, changing sun. It's difficult to control for beginners, especially hard midday light. And it limits you to daily hours and locations. And of course, weather plays a part, especially in Scotland. You will also need to travel with reflectors and diffusers to shape it properly. I still believe that it's the most beautiful, and even although when I head to a client's house or location to shoot a portrait session, and even although I've got a car full of lighting equipment with me, it's a rare occasion that I ever use them. So let's now turn our attention to window light. So what is it? Again, it's simple. It's the same natural light that we have just talked about, except rather than being outdoors, it's now streaming through a window. Often soft, directional, and really, really beautiful for portraits. So when would you be using window light? Well, I use it all the time for home sessions. You might have a window set up in your studio to create variety, of course, as well. And it's for simple, natural feeling portraits, newborns, maternity, and couples. The pros of using window light is so soft and flattering, and especially if you use net curtains or some sort of diffusion over the window. It's a directional light source as well, so it's great for creating shadows and shape. And again, it's free and very accessible. Now, there are some cons, of course, as well. It's time and it's weather dependent. Can't use it at night, for instance. It's limited by the position and the size of the window. It may require a longer exposure or higher ISO when you're in a darker spaces or it's darker outside. And the light, of course, also changes quickly throughout the day, just depending on the position of the sun. The next light we're going to look at is tungsten light. Well, what is tungsten light? Well, they're these old school filament bulbs and they create a warm orange light. Think about desk lamps, hall lights, old-fashioned studio gear that you've seen before. When do you use tungsten lights? Well, I guess you could use them for like creative shoots, perhaps with a vintage or you're looking to get a kind of moody vibe. Controlled environments where you want warmth, right? Tungsten lights can also work beautifully, not by lighting the subject, but as a secondary interest in the background of an image, which is primarily lit by flash, LEDs or window light. So what's the pros of tungsten? Well, it's warm, cozy colour temperature, and they're still used in some artistic and cinematic portraiture. And it works with continuous preview. In other words, you see what you get. And what's the cons? Well, they're very warm. They're around 3,200 degrees Kelvin. So unless you want very red faces, you require white balance correction to get your skin tones correct. And it can also cause mixed lighting issues. And one of the biggest problems is this. They're very hot to the touch and they're extremely power hungry. I guess tungsten lights are being pretty much phased out in favour of LED lights. Number 4. Let's talk about LED panels. What are they? Well, in the terms of photographic innovation throughout the ages, LED panels are a fairly modern invention. They're energy efficient, continuous light panels available in all shapes and sizes and outputs. So when would we use LED panels? Well, they're perfect for hybrid photo video setups, and that kind of thing's taken off quite a lot in recent years. They're brilliant when you want to see the light in real time. What you see is what you get again. And they're pretty good for on-location portraits without using flash. And they can work pretty well for low-key environmental portraits. What's the pros of using LEDs? Well, the one thing, the opposite of tungsten really. They're cool, so they run cool. There's no overheating involved. They can run all day. And what's brilliant is also you can adjust the colour temperature on many of the models. And this is brilliant for me as a photographic teacher. As a teaching tool, they're brilliant as it makes learning about light direction and shaping on the face easy. And as a big bonus, they're lightweight and portable. And what about the cons? Well, they're definitely not as powerful as strobes. And on many occasions, you're going to have to go up to a higher ISO or a slower shutter speed to get the image. And they can flicker or shift colour if you go for a cheaper brand. And also, some of the cheaper models are pretty poor colour rendering. Now, I want to move on now to the two most popular choices for portraiture and why these two would be my number 1 and number 2 choice. We'll talk about speedlights first. That's small flashes, I guess it's another term for them. So what is it? Well, portable flashes that mount on the camera hot shoe, and of course they can also be triggered off camera as well. And when would you use it? Well, you would use it on location portraits really, of any genre. So great for events, of course, and weddings. Brilliant for when a lightweight setup is needed, or indeed you're running a mobile studio. What about the pros of Speedlights? Well, the biggest benefit is this. They're lightweight and they're portable. And being battery powered means they can be used anywhere. And they're super, super portable. They're affordable and they're easy to find anywhere. They work well off camera with wireless triggers, and you can bounce or you can modify the speedlight for softer light. I guess the cons of using speedlights would be this. They're limited in power compared to their big brothers. They have generally slower recycling time, especially with cheaper models. And that can be a problem because when you need to wait between charges, you can be missing important shots. And they also really need modifiers to make them soft and flattering for portraiture. And they're like mini computers, and they can just blow the minds of newbie photographers. And they often have very fiddly menus. So I'm going to move on now to my favourite, and the one that I would suggest anybody who's getting into portraiture just go straight to, and that's studio strobes, flash units. Now what are they? Well, professional flash heads. They give short, powerful and intense bursts of light triggered by the camera. When would we use it? Well, they're perfect for any studio portraitures, fashion, full family groups, commercial, high-end shoots. In fact, really any genre of photography where you want total control of the light. So here's the pros of using proper studio flash. They're incredibly powerful. They can easily outpower sunlight. You get sharp, clean, noise-free images because you can use low ISO. You can have precise control over exposure and lighting ratios. And unlike speedlights, they can recharge quickly and can sync with most cameras. There are some cons, however. They of course do require a learning curve. You have to understand metering, modifiers, how to sync. But you can't see the light until you shoot and see the result. That's unless you're using the modelling lamps, which are not too accurate. They're more expensive than LEDs, of course. And they need mains power or strong battery packs. Now, talking about battery packs, many of the newer models can run on batteries. So you can now take a high-powered strobe out on location and get the same power as you have in the studio. The other benefit is if you're using them in the studio, you can have a lead-free studio, which as well as looking tidier, will also make it safer for your clients. Final thoughts on this. There really is no such thing as the best type of lighting. It's all about the look that you want to achieve, the space that you're shooting in, and the experience you want to create for your client. Now that said, learning to master a few types of light, really master them, will take you further than trying to dabble in everything. So if you're studio-based, strobes and modifier are your bread and butter. And if you're mobile or hybrid, LED panels, speedlights and natural light will be your friend. I guess the key here is not the gear that you're using. It's the control of the light. Learn to shape it. Learn to measure it and use it with real purpose, and you can make magic out of almost any light source. Let's look at another important aspect of portrait lighting. What modifiers and how they shape the light. So now you've got your light, whether it's natural light, whether it's LEDs, whether it's studio strobes, outdoor strobes, speed light, whatever. That's the source sorted. But it's how you shape that light that's really going to determine the look and the feel of your images. Enter the humble modifier. Modifiers are like seasoning and cooking, really. The light is your main ingredient, but it's how you flavour it, how you spread it, how you soften it, and how you control it. That's what gives the style. Flat light, sculpted light, soft shadows, crisp shadows, drama. It all comes down to the modifier that you choose. Let's walk through the most common lighting modifiers for portraiture and figure out what they do, when to use them, and what to watch out for. Number one, I guess, is softboxes. So what's a softbox? Well, it's a fabric box that diffuses light and creates soft, flattering shadows on your subject. It's available in all sorts of shapes: rectangles, squares, octagonal, you call them an octobox, strip form, and I've even seen circles. Best used, I guess, for studio family portraits, newborn maternity headshots, and beauty portraits. It's a highly controllable soft light with a nice fall off. And the pros of this are, it's beautiful, soft, with direction. It's great for all skin types and ages. And it works close or far from the subject. And it creates a different light on the subject the closer in or further away that you take it. It comes in all shapes and sizes to suit your style. The cons of this, they can be bulky to store and to transport, and they need setup and takedown time. And the cheaper models can fall apart quickly. In my opinion, you really need to go with one of the big names in the industry to make sure you're going to get the right colour and to make sure it's a solid softbox. Here's a top tip. An octobox gives the most natural, rounded catch light in the eye. A strip box is brilliant for room lighting or for full body separation lights, but my favourite is still the square or rectangle softbox, as it's easier to feather the light, and I feather my light a lot. The second modifier that we're going to look at is umbrellas. So what do we mean by umbrella? Well, you know what an umbrella is. It's either reflective or it shoots through, and that spreads the light quickly and widely. It's best used for, I guess, quick setups. You can whack it up and throw it into the strobe and you're off. It gives natural looking portraits and it fills a room with light. It's great for groups on location or in smaller studios. The pros are it's very affordable and lightweight, and it's super fast to set up. You get a large soft light with minimum fuss but not a lot of control. So the cons of this, it's less directional. It spills light everywhere. It's not ideal for high controlled lighting setups and can catch the wind outside if you're using it outdoors. If we then go and look at the shoot-through umbrella, that's slightly different. That's soft, it's diffused, and it's very natural. It's a punchier light with more direction, intensity, and fall-off. It's a really beautiful light. The third one we're going to look at is a beauty dish. So what's a beauty dish? It's a shallow bowl-shaped modifier, and that creates a mix of hard and soft light where you get crisp contrast in the middle and beautiful facial definition around the edge. It's best used for kind of beauty light, fashion light, and kind of high-impact headshots. You add structure and drama to a portrait, and they're quite small. So the pros are using a beauty dish is it creates striking images with more edge and pop. It's got lovely fall off and really nice catch lights because it's round. But the cons of this, it's less forgiving on skin imperfections, more so than a softbox. It's not really ideal for newborns, kids, or nervous clients because you're going to get it quite close to them. And it's a little bit more niche than softboxes or umbrellas. And there's an option here. You can add a diffusion sock to soften the light over the front if it feels too punchy, and it's really beautiful. Number 4, let's talk a little about reflectors and flags. What are they? Well, they're surfaces used to bounce or to block light. We kind of talked about it in the last video about equipment. You've already met reflectors in the accessories section before, but they're worth repeating. They're best used for natural light setups, fill light and contrast control, outdoor shoots, or minimalist indoor setups. Pros are cheap, lightweight, there's no power needed, total control over fill and shadow shape, and it helps shape window light or sunlight beautifully. And the cons of this, it needs somebody to hold it or position it. It's not a full light source, it only shapes existing light, and it can be underused or even forgotten about. Flags, they're black cards or materials, but they're equally powerful because they let you subtract light and create depth and direction in the image. Don't underestimate flags. 5, we're going to talk about grids. Now, what are grids? It's a honeycomb attachment that narrows the beam of light from your modifier. There's one in this light at the minute, and that's directing the light straight to me. They're best used for kind of hair lights, background separation, dramatic or moody portraiture. It's a tight light control for use in small spaces. And the pros is it keeps light off the background or of other subjects. And it adds drama and intensity to the image. It helps sculpt that light very precisely. The cons, it can reduce the overall light output and it can look too harsh if overused, burning out highlights. It works best with some experience. Use them with softboxes, beauty dishes or reflectors for really targeting impact on your subject. And then you got number 6, which is barn door snoots and gels. Well, what are they? That's a barn door for a start on that there. They're flaps that shape or block light edges. Snoots are long tubes to focus light into a small circle, directing the light, and gels, coloured filters to warm, cool, or add creativity to your portraiture. Best used, I guess, for creative or themed portraits, background lighting, hair, rim lights for separation. The pros, it adds real character to an image and it lets you experiment with colour, direction and intensity. It's great for creating in-camera effects. The cons of this, it's easy to overdo it. You need careful positioning and planning, and it's really not essential for everyday portraiture, but great for creativity and building a unique style. So, what should you start with? Well, if you're just starting your studio setup or you're working with a tight budget, here's a starter kit that I would recommend. You're looking for 250 or 400 strobe heads. Look for a kit offer for one of the big manufacturers. You're looking for 2 lighting stands. You're looking for 200 centimeter soft boxes, one with a honeycomb grid. You're looking for a white, silver or a 5-in-1 reflector, a small dish reflector with a grid for effect lights and a background light, and a meter. See the last video on equipment. As your confidence in your style develops, you can add more specialist modifiers to your collection, but please do not fall into the trap of buying everything before you know how to use it. Mastering one modifier is far more valuable than owning 10 and not knowing what half of them do. Final thoughts on modifiers. These are the tools that give your light shape, direction, mood and style, and without them your light is just blasting everywhere. It's flat, uncontrolled and dull. With the right modifiers though, you can sculpt cheekbones, soften skin, create cinematic drama or build soft natural scenes filled with warmth and connection. Start simple, master your tools and let the light tell your story. Thanks for watching guys, and please, if you enjoyed the video, think about subscribing, like the video and click the notifications bell. I'll see you on the next one.